who's like,
just so you know, we're live.
Oh, well, there's a Haitian guy. Right? It's like a video of this Jamaican or Haitian guy. He's sitting there and he's like trying to clear off like a wasp nest that's like right above his house. He's like, "This is for you, Sharon." And he goes and he like grabs one of the wasps that's sitting on the thing, and then he grabs the nest and like crushes all of them. You can see them trying to come out, and he just like does it with his bare hands, like no gloves, nothing. It was insane. I was just like, man, I don't think I could ever get to that level, dude.
Acquire that amount of manliness.
I don't think that was even manliness. I was just straight up fucking crazy.
All right, are we ready to go?
Let's do this.
Let's kick it. Hang on, sorry. I had muted that track earlier. Do I care? I mean, if you want.
Bees.
I can't even really hear it in my headphones.
It's like a video of this Jamaican or Haitian guy.
Okay, let's try this again.
Bees of the round table.
Yeah, there we are. Okay. It helps out a lot if you unmute the track.
Yeah, that one is that's an important one.
That little part right there just gets me every time.
Always.
Chills right down the spine. We made some good music, Joseph.
We did. We sat down and we did it.
All right. Welcome to Beers of the Round Table. This is our second cast of the year, right? Yeah, we already did one this year.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and talk about the beer already.
And also, just for all of our viewers who have been keeping count, it is episode 20, our 20th episode, and we are still here. And we got 2 beers tonight.
Yeah, 2 beers for episode 20.
Special beers.
Yeah. So, really excited about this.
The greatest beers.
So, Martin House Brewing, we've had a few beers from Martin House on the show.
Pumpkin spice latte.
Overall, we really like the brewery. The pumpkin spice latte, not so much.
Yeah.
So, but this week, we're pretty excited. We got their cookies and cream, technically a beer series, I guess. There's one beer cookies, and the other beer is cream.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, so you got cookies, which is a cookie dough stout. That's a 6.2 alcohol. And then cream, which is a rich cream ale at 6%. So I'm a little bit curious about this cream ale.
Yeah, me too.
Because
we make a cream ale.
Yeah, we make a cream ale, and it's not creamy. Because, see, that's the thing, is that cream ale is a misnomer. It's not a creamy beer. There's not really anything creamy about it. We can kind of think of it as a ale version of a light lager.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's usually a really light, crisp, refreshing beer.
Uh-huh.
But since this is like cookies and cream, I'm curious what they're going to do with it. Like, is this one actually going to be creamy? Like,
Yeah, what color is it going to be?
Yeah. So the suspense is killing me. All right. So before we crack into these, let me remind you how this is going to go. So we're going to do our serving as per suggested by Martin House Brewing. So what we're going to do is we each have 3 glasses. Correct? Everybody has 3 glasses?
We all have 3.
Okay.
Glasses.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a little bit of cookies, have a little bit of cream, and then we're going to blend the beers together and have cookies and cream.
Ooh, yes.
And in addition, at some point during the cast...
we also have real cookies.
Yes, my wife, Kara, was so nice to bake us some cookies for... unintentionally for this cast. She didn't know we were going to have this, but she did it anyway. So
worked out.
We should be very thankful for that. All right, let's do it.
Wait, which one are you cracking first?
Both.
Wait, we said cookies first, right?
Well, it doesn't even matter. I'm just gonna crack them all and pour them and drink it at my leisure.
Ooh.
Oh wow, cookie smells good.
Oh my gosh, that smells like Nestle Toll House.
Yeah, man.
So do be careful of your proportions.
Yes.
I don't know about my proportions.
I don't know.
All right.
I hope our listeners can tell how extremely excited we are about this.
Yes, this has definitely been on the. This has been a beer on the chopping block that we wanted to try for a while.
So I think I'd actually recommend everybody to use your snifter for mixing.
Yes,
because it's bigger.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna switch over to that.
So it turns out
no,
the cream ale is a light, very light.
That looks like a cream ale.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of haze to it, but
that definitely looks like a cream ale. All right, mix it up.
It's wrong.
Mad scientist.
So I'm actually really curious if which beer you pour first in your mix. matters.
Well,
I poured them both at the same
Oh
time.
my god, dude, that is really, really interesting and actually surprisingly good.
Okay.
That was the mixture that I just had a sip of, by the way.
I have a
Alright.
suspicion that more cookie dough will make it better, but I haven't tasted the cream.
Oh yeah, so that's important that the cookies. I think I already said it. It's a cookie dough stout.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
all right. So
Did you guys taste the cream ale yet?
No.
no, I haven't tasted anything yet.
What?
We're just gonna go ahead and go on with this and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Zach, I believe you are our topic master today.
Hey, I was supposed to surprise everyone over here,
Oh,
man.
I'm sorry. I didn't know that.
Okay.
who is our topic master of the night?
Hey, guys, it's me.
Oh my god. I'm shocked.
Well, tonight, guys, I have there's a very, very special announcement here at Beers of the Round Table. We're all Nintendo kids growing up, and we still have a majority of us have the Nintendo Switch, and all of us would like to make sure that we have Nintendo Switches and all of their accessories in the future. They yesterday actually announced something truly amazing, which was the Nintendo Labo, a very, very interesting peripheral accessory, which would be it's basically cardboard, just cardboard accessories.
Engineering.
Yeah, that you put your little Nintendo Switch remotes in there. What are those called?
The
Joy-Cons.
Joy-Cons. You point your Joy-Cons in there.
Everybody's like pushing VR hardcore.
Yeah,
and
VR.
Nintendo's like, here's a box.
AR, VR, augmented reality too.
It shows that they are more right now saying, look, VR will be cool maybe one day. They've already had the whole bring yourself into the game immersion systems down since the Wii. They were the ones that I think started that with motion controls. But the thing is that they still understand that the best thing right now is still a physical peripheral device. Physical gaming is going to be better than VR gaming for quite some time.
Well, now I don't think so much that that's the stance that they're taking.
For sure.
Something that they clearly stated right before they made this announcement was that this is for kids and kids at heart.
Right.
So I definitely don't think this is going to be this is a mainstream gaming platform or anything like that. I think it's this is something for kids. They're going to get to build. Good God, excuse me. They're gonna get to put something together, build it, figure out how these mechanical things work. It's gonna be a learning experience. It's got a game built into it too. I don't think it's more of this is Nintendo's answer to VR. It's just that rather than trying to go on with something like that, Nintendo wants to create a new innovation like they always do.
Yeah, well, I even heard in one of my podcasts today they had parents write in. They were saying that typical cut and make or whatever type things like this at a Hobby Lobby or whatever would be probably around $30.
Yeah.
And so what the dad was getting at was, I think they stated this takes about maybe 2.5 hours to 3 hours to make, so you get that bonding time of actually making the thing.
Yeah.
And then there's actually a replayable game associated
Yes.
with it.
Yes.
So it's not just thrown away after you make it. So he
Right.
said, the $70 price point is really nothing because it actually provides something more than what the $30 was.
Yeah.
So
Do
the first option, the variety kit, comes with cardboard, rubber bands, and string, and that's
Wow.
it. And that's for the fishing rod, motorbike, and piano, a house, and remote controlled cars. And that's the crazy thing, is that that's something that you can get at the store, and I just absolutely love that. They didn't, of course they're going to want you to go through and buy the Labo kit and everything else like that, but say your kids, spill something on there, or they tear it up just because of usage and stuff like that, you can go through and rebuild it for pretty cheap. And the thing is that $70 for the top level kit, right? Is it 70?
Yeah.
No, the top level is 80.
Oh, 80.
The entry level is 70.
Okay.
80 is still cheap as can be. And the thing is that's cost of one game and DLC,
Well,
it feels
yeah,
like.
that's the main thing. The biggest cost of that is actually the software associated with it. Nintendo was saying that they will be selling replacement pieces of cardboard if you actually do need it. So
Right.
you can buy it a la carte if you need it. And or go ahead, Joseph.
The longevity of these things is kind of a question I kind of wanted to bring up too. Do you guys think that the kids who are gonna play with this are gonna like look back on these with nostalgia, like kind of the way that we look at our Game Boys and stuff, you know? But because to me, it seems that like the cardboard is going to be gone by that point, and it's like, oh, it was cardboard.
I mean,
but like we have these artifacts almost that we can look back on and reflect.
Well, the nice thing about the cardboard, I mean, so long as you still have like the game cartridge, or in the future a ROM or something like that, maybe. The cardboard designs are probably something that
You can print out easily.
people are going to save these designs. You can download design, cut out from any box that you have. It's just cardboard.
That is true.
So you not dip your cookie into the beer. It is absolutely disgusting.
Okay.
Well, you're supposed to dip it into the cream one, not into the cookies and cream one.
I don't know if I trust you about this one.
No, one thing I was going to say about the technology behind this is, I believe under the right Joy-Con there is that IR sensor,
Right.
and so that's what's actually sort of powering most of these. So the piano one, for example, you're not actually really hitting keys, but it's just seeing which ones are moving,
Right.
and then representing that in the game, and that's how music is made.
Yeah.
So I would sort of compare to, kind of on your point, Joseph, to like a bottle rocket, or not a bottle rocket, like the paper rockets that you make and shoot off in a field.
Oh, yeah, those were fun.
Those like craft rockets you made.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so it's kind of the same thing. Like, it's been probably 15 years since I've done something like that, but I still have those memories, and I probably don't have the rocket anymore. But yeah, it is something I look back fondly on. This cool little rocket. I actually made one from scratch. Like, I didn't
That's cool.
buy like a pre-made one. Like, I had to like actually roll it and glue it and put it all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put the little explosive charges in there.
Yeah, I remember
Try not to blow your fingers off.
we had
Exactly.
a whole rocket day at my elementary school. I remember that. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I didn't get that.
No.
When I was a kid, no.
No, we didn't get Rocket Day. We did have ours were like little kind of plastic model rockets, I think, that we like shoved a little ignition charge inside of it, and then went out there and ignited it.
They didn't do that at all because kids had blown off their fingers.
Well, yeah,
It's a liability.
I completely understand why they wouldn't do that at a school. I mean,
I did mine for school.
really? No. Well, I mean, like, did a teacher sit down with you and show you how to build an explosive?
We didn't make the explosive part, but
Exactly.
Scott, do you or do you not know how to make a cruise missile?
maybe. I mean, mine did kind of like swirl a bit, so you can't really trust the.
The trajectory on there. I
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah.
No, what we had in
unstable.
school though was like vinegar and baking soda rockets. No, those were volcanoes. No, what we did.
No, wait.
I'm sorry. The rockets that we had was like you would take like a 2-liter. You would take a 2-liter bottle, put some water in there, and then like a rubber stopper with like one of those like bike pump needles in there, and then you just pump air in there until like the pressure builds up and it shoots off. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if kids nowadays use like the Mentos and Coke.
No, they just use Tide
probably.
Pods.
Dang it.
Tide Pods and Ajax mixed into like some acid.
Good old Ajax.
Hey man, shit's good. But yeah, so what exactly do you guys know? Let's talk about real quick. What all peripherals did the Labo actually come with? I'm seeing here motorbike, fishing rod, piano, a house, and a remote. What was the house for exactly? Did they?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if
remember
they.
seeing it, but
I remember seeing the house. I don't remember what the application side of the house was.
You think like maybe like a Tamagotchi kind of deal, like where you have like a little critter that lives in the house and
Well,
you gotta feed it or something?
Like if I remember from the video, the house is more kind of like a dock itself for the Switch tablet. Like you made the house and you put the Switch in there, and
Right,
then like the
right.
Switch screen was like the inside of the house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So I don't know like what all went on with it, cardboard wise, but that's what I remember seeing in the video.
interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like the second kit called the Robot Kit also lets you assemble your own.
Robo Kit.
Yeah, the robot kit looked really cool.
Lets you assemble your own cardboard exoskeleton to control a virtual robot. Both packages will arrive on April 20th with a variety pack.
Read that again.
Second kit called the Robot Kit lets you assemble your own cardboard
Your
exoskeleton.
own cardboard exoskeleton.
Yeah, you guys didn't see it. It was
No. I just wanted to
Just
So I
let
got
that
a cookie
sink
my
in. You
mouth.
can
I
make
just wanted it to sink in.
that they're giving people the ability to live
Make
out the
their own
fantasy
exoskeleton.
of being in a
You know
Iron
what'd be
Man
cool
suit.
too, man? Is that you like wrap that like? Could you imagine being a little kid and wrapping that shit in like some aluminum foil?
Foil, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
That's something like I noticed in the videos. They were doing a lot of personalization of these cardboards.
That's what's freaking cool.
With the
it's
markers.
genius.
You know what? They really should have like coined the term augmented imagination.
Oh,
Yes.
dude, trademark it now.
Augmented imagination.
I mean, 'cause,
you
like,
heard it here first.
If you think about it a little bit, that's kind of like what they're doing. Because, like, with the robot and stuff, it kind of brings back the old, childhood fantasy, more, imagining, oh, I'm a robot. Look at my exoskeleton. But I mean, like, without, like, things like that.
I knew the word exoskeleton when I was like 8.
No, of course, but I mean, like,
Look at my Iron Man suit.
I mean, right now you got kids, just sitting down watching YouTube people play video games, but with this, they can imagine again. I don't know, just a thought.
I think that it's a really great. I think it's a great idea. I know a lot of people are like, "Well, where's the Smash Bros at, man? I thought we were going to be getting Smash Bros."
No, okay, yeah.
Metroid Prime 4, bro.
I want to talk about this. So, right before this announcement, we also had the mini direct, right?
Right, where they announced Dark Souls and Payday and all
They
that other
announced
all that
a
good
lot
stuff.
of really good games, and everyone's like, "Oh, we don't get Smash Bros. Oh, we don't get all the games that we want." It's like, first of all,
How long was the Wii U out before we got Smash Bros?
How long was the Wii U out before we got a good game? Spoiler: it never happened.
Oh, damn, dude.
Hey, well, Smash Bros 4 was really good.
Yeah, how many people played it?
Me?
Because you, and then
Not
everyone else is still playing Melee.
Melee purist, yes.
No, but
Well, okay, so when the new one comes out for the Switch, all the people that are like crying for Smash Bros, I'll be like, nah, man, Melee.
yeah.
Probably.
And then the cycle of retardation continues.
Yeah. No, but my point is, we've had mini directs before, and typically, I believe within 3 to 5 weeks after we get a mini direct, we get a full direct. And so, all these announcements that honestly, Nintendo fans want, and they've just been hyping up for themselves, we're probably going to get pretty soon with another direct. And on top of that, Nintendo really doesn't make super big announcements about things till like E3.
Yeah.
So I don't understand this idea that all of a sudden, Animal Crossing, Smash Brothers, Star Fox,
As if they've
the
been, like,
next
heated out of
Metroid game,
There's a lot
the
of
next
things
Earthbound
right now.
game. Like I just. It has never been that all those games are announced at the exact same time.
Of course
the
not.
exact same. But
Yeah.
that's what people think is going to happen.
I don't think the population
No.
can handle that.
The thing is that you know what? This is what was it Miyamoto that originally said that a bad game on release will.
A bad game is bad forever, but a delayed game is
Can still be
like,
good.
Yeah,
Will eventually be good,
Right.
and that was the
No, except for Duke Nukem Forever. But
well, Duke Nukem Forever was.
it was passed around. Like,
Let's not talk about that. Whenever we're talking about a company's own IP and stuff like that, not something that they inherited or bought off somebody else, it means something more to them. And whenever it comes to Nintendo and their IPs, they're already super protective. So,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think the point you're getting at is we just need to be patient and let Nintendo do Nintendo. Because
Oh yeah, definitely. No, I'm definitely in that camp. Like they're hitting it out of the park right now with like ever since the Switch announcement, Nintendo's just been on like this amazing high. And I just hope that they keep it going because we got 2 Game of the Year contenders last year,
Right,
Plus
right.
the fastest selling console ever.
God,
yeah.
yeah, dude.
So that's something to really be proud of.
and it should even speak to the fact that it is outselling the PS4 in Japan.
Yeah.
which
It is the
their
major
home turf.
market. That's
Right.
that's like the Xbox here in America.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just everyone just needs to relax. I mean,
Yeah.
we
Definitely.
got Breath of the Wild, we got an awesome Mario game as well that people are still finding out cool things about.
Yeah.
and they just released basically free DLC for.
Yeah.
So like,
I mean, Maybe that's kind of part of the problem is we've gotten some really awesome things already in the Switch, and so they're like, I need more.
Well, you know what, too?
I need my fix, man.
People need to trust that Nintendo knows what they're doing, and that every second that they wait is exponentially. It's Nintendo making it exponentially better of a game, because every second that they have to work on this development for any of their IPs, it's just. I don't know, man. It's like aging like a whiskey or fine wine.
Yeah.
So here's something interesting. Going back to Labo, Matthew commented. I don't know how long ago he commented because my app doesn't show that. But he said that he wished he could get a class set for his students. Like, what do you think about that? Like, could this be something that would be like useful in the classroom?
I mean, I think the kids would fight over it.
Well, okay, if you got enough that enough of it could go around for like students. If you're a very fortunate teacher,
I mean, I think I can, because they did say like you won't have to buy all the software. Like, you can just buy the kits without the software, and I'm sure that's going to bring the cost down.
Yeah, but at the same time,
the key will be to find a printer for it, because people, if they don't offer it right off the get-go, the first thing people are going to do are going to scan it and make like rip-off copies. I know that sounds really messed up, and I want to support the developer, but it depends on how fast Nintendo wants to release those schematics on the on what the cardboard's actually like. But like you said,
well, I mean, if it's just cardboard, unfortunately, Nintendo doesn't have that luxury of not releasing schematics.
Yeah, exactly. So either they release it or somebody scans it, and you're going to be able to find it online for free, basically. So then the next thing that you're going to need to figure out...
would still need the software for it to work.
Well, that's what I was getting to, is how...
Well,
I don't know if they've
do.
said anything yet. You just fired it.
You get a projector.
Well, I just don't feel like they're going to actually go through and just have a game that's only physical copy. They just don't do that anymore. It's not...
True.
It's not... you can't do that in this day and age. You just really can't. You can't carry around 20 cartridges. That's why they included an SD card slot in there and everything like that, and internal memory. I mean, I know it's not much, but the point is...
Well, I mean,
is
like, any Switch case that you get these days has, storage for tons of cartridges. Like, my super cheap case I got has, probably a good 20 cartridge slots.
Right, but any console that ever comes out from here on forth is not going to have, it's not going to exclude internet connectivity. Every console is going to have internet connectivity from here moving forward.
Well, yeah.
So every single console then should have digital downloads here moving forward. I think I think that they can't avoid it. There's no way to avoid that.
Who's saying that they wouldn't or shouldn't?
I'm just saying that they probably won't, but
I think what Zach's getting at is that there's going to be a digital way to download this, so you're not going to have to front up the 70,
yeah, that's what
so,
I'm saying.
$80.
I guess, and more if we go back to talking about this in the classroom sense, yeah, sure, the cardboard would be easy to get, easy to, find plans for, cut it, all that kind of stuff, but, getting the Switch hardware and getting the software is probably a little bit more preventative or something like that, because, a pair of Joy-Cons is still $80.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Yeah.
gotta have those.
Yeah.
And the Switch.
But, I mean, I still think it is kind of like what we've hit on, it is a good way to expand kids' imagination. Because...
Augmented imagination.
Well, I mean, this might even just take a kid, and even if it means nothing to them right now, later they might decide to become an engineer just because
definitely.
they had this one class with...
Yeah.
They realize that they like working with their hands.
Yeah.
They'll sit in an interview and be like, oh, man, I remember, putting together...
Yeah, I mean, they might be able to...
Yeah, today it's cardboard, and, a few years down the line, then they're, hitting hard stuff, Raspberry Pis, and soldering, and...
You skip the popsicle sticks.
Next thing you find them compiling their own kernel in Unix, and...
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I mean, I think
it'd be a good idea. Yeah.
I think it's a great idea.
For like a recess sort of type thing,
Right.
And it just shows how Nintendo it doesn't care about its competition. They have their own style and they stick with it, and
more so that they haven't lost touch, really.
Nintendo's never given a fuck about the competition, though.
That's true.
Right, but when you release not even like a Super HD or like a standard HD console into a market that was heading to HD, like that's kind of where they messed up.
Yeah.
They're always a little bit behind the times, and where it worked was the Wii, and where it worked was the Switch. But then where it doesn't work was a perfect example of a Wii U, where it is not beneficial to them all the time.
Yeah.
But for the most part, yes, we always get these really refined games from them. So,
well, I think it's great that they are accommodating to all markets. The adult market that is clearly in love with the Switch, like us, and they are still building things for, children too. They're doing a very even balance, Yeah. So it doesn't show that they're not like completely. Like, it's not that they don't care about their competition. It's that, look, we know that we have competition, but that's not our target market.
right.
So they accommodate to everyone, and I feel like they do it perfectly. They do it just perfectly, man.
You guys think like this this period in time where like we as millennials kind of grew up on Nintendo and have that nostalgia? Do you think future generations will have like I know I keep going to this nostalgia thing, but like
No, I know it's
Nintendo
definitely a
be
big
able
thing.
to
Like,
keep it because I know our generation, a characteristic of it is that we're highly nostalgic.
oh yeah, I definitely agree with that. But
I think any generation is highly nostalgic. Just listening to the way my dad talks with his friends about stuff that they used to do,
yeah.
like
Right.
they're nostalgic for stuff that is.
But to the point that it's a defining characteristic of their generation.
yeah, because if you think about it, sure, every generation's nostalgic, but our generation, like, we're recreating things that were popular just a mere 10 to 15 years ago.
They're recreating stuff that's popular to them for their generation.
Give me a good example.
I can't, but I know that it is done.
I guess for us, the recreations that we're seeing are much more prominent in pop culture. The big resurgences.
Right, but a lot of their generation stuff is not in pop culture right now, but I'm sure it's still being done.
But see, the point I'm making though is that our generation is forcing our nostalgia into current pop culture. Pokemon Go. NES Classic, SNES Classic remakes that, you can't keep those things on the shelf. Things like that.
Yeah, but NES is not even of our it's a generation before us.
I agree with that, too.
That is pretty true, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Unless you were born in the 80s, but...
Okay, well...
We weren't born in the 80s.
I still stand by Pokemon Go.
I agree with you to an extent, but I also believe that, nostalgia is with every generation. It's just maybe for us right now, it is the mainstream, and
Right.
it's going to hit a point where it's just that's
Let's try to think about this for a
So,
second.
will the strategy continue to work with Nintendo is basically what I'm getting at.
as long as they're playing towards the family market and they're actually making products that are good and maybe not like I think the biggest problem with the Wii U was it wanted to be the Switch, but it wasn't the Switch. And you had a super low quality screen. It was only 720p. It wasn't even
Right.
Well, the Switch's screen is 720p.
Well, yes, but when you dock it, it's 820 is one.
1080.
I'm sorry, 1080. Yes,
820.
sorry, numbers. Yeah, 1080. My point is that I think that their strategy can continue to work as long as it is playing towards the strengths like portability, really good, having games, having third party. What did the Wii U not have? And the Wii U didn't really have a very good third party
At all.
Switch, just out of the gate, they were kind of hesitant at first, and all of a sudden all these indie developers were releasing on it, and it's like, this has been the best selling my game has done anywhere or anywhere combined.
But and then indie games that I think are important, but I think what's also really important is that we're getting a lot of big AAA titles on
right,
Switch
but
as
you
well.
won't get those AAA titles unless the people who are willing to put stuff on it, like the indie developers.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. I don't think the indie developers can sway the AAA developers as much.
Yes, they can.
Well, like if you're talking about big developers like namely like EA and maybe Ubisoft.
Before we get too far into this, I hope you guys know the second topic for the night was the possibility of the EA bubble popping this 2018. We've already had one bubble pop, which was the cryptocurrency bubble. Or
that was a big pop.
They call it the pop, but it was more of like a correction. It actually reset pretty well. I mean, fairly.
That was a pretty hard dip, though.
It was for a second, and it was scary. I've got my fair share
in
it.
A lot of weak hands is what we call them.
Exactly.
But it's already back at 11.6, which is sure not 20K,
but
it's not 5K either.
Yeah,
was that the low it hit, or
no? The low was
I'm
like
just saying,
8,000.
the low was like 8, or something like that.
800. And
Man,
that was, 8,000. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of Ethereum for a second.
I get it that relatively speaking, if you think about it as a percentage wise, it's not a huge.
Well, okay, so essentially, when it was at its lowest, it was about a 30% dip, then it went back up like 20%.
Oh yeah, and I get that. Like I said, in a percentage, if you're talking about it in percentages, it's not really like a huge deal. But think about it, this thing dropped like $7,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Well, you know what? Then guess what? Whenever people who are getting into the game by starting with cryptocurrencies, moving over to the stock markets, they're going to be feeling pretty safe going over to the stock market.
Oh, hell yeah.
But see, in the stock markets, it's like you can buy something and it will not do anything for years.
Right.
True.
Yeah.
Whereas with this, there's, a daily at least $1 change. So
the thing is that...
Well, my point is you could actually make money.
Well, you can make money in the stock market.
Yeah, but...
It depends on what you pick. I mean, and same thing with cryptocurrencies. You could be like, oh, I want to go the safe route. I'm going to pick altcoin X and altcoin Y, and then those things don't do nothing for like 20 years. But, I mean, you bet your horse on Bitcoin, and you could be crashing $8,000.
For sure, but let's change this topic over
Don't be
because
dumb. That's all I have to say.
we're talking about bubble popping, and the next bubble pop that they are talking about is the EA bubble pop that may soon burst. So EA, Activision have been doing some really shady shit with the whole loot box thing. At the end of 2017, we had things like the Star Wars loot crates being investigated by
EA and Activision.
EA and Activision.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry.
But the thing was that EA in the release of Battlefront was actually investigated by a couple of European countries. I think it was Belgium.
Yeah. So pretty much European countries have a lot of them kind of decided that this is gambling, and so
They decided on it was the big thing.
Right.
I mean,
And they're going to regulate it like gambling.
Right, exactly, because this is considered
Gotta
a
keep it
style of
regulated.
gambling that is specifically targeted towards minors or something like that.
right.
Which is not okay.
But the thing is
minors
that
can't gamble.
I mean, there was another game that came out recently that also had to go through EA. People might say that Europe's a little touchy whenever it comes to gaming, and people they're quick to no, you can't do that with No Man's Sky. They said false advertising originally.
Oh wow.
With No Man's Sky a couple years back. I don't think that they.
I think a lot of
No
people would have
Man's
been really
Sky.
happy about that.
Yeah.
They would have been. They would have been, but they didn't find No Man's Sky actually guilty of anything, from what I remember. What they did find was actually Battlefront guilty of being a gambling game aimed at minors, like how Scott said. And the thing that kind of progressed from that was Disney. I don't know when the chain of events actually started coming down, but Disney was like, hey, what the fuck are y'all doing over there at EA?
Oh boy, you guys fucked up real bad.
Have y'all seen that? I'm gonna kick your ass.
Yes, Mr. Meows.
Yes, Mr. Mouse. If you guys watch South Park, check out the South Park episode with the Jonas Brothers and Mickey Mouse. Fantastic. It's exactly what happened, I'm guessing, with EA and Disney with Battlefront 2.
Yeah, so basically what Zach's alluding to is someone from Disney basically made some calls to EA and was like, hey,
You need to shut it off.
Yeah, remove this stuff. And so, I think even
your
till
shit.
now, you really can't get the loot boxes in any way or something.
You can use them in certain ways from what I had seen, but you
But you
couldn't
can't
buy
pay
them.
for them.
Yeah,
Okay.
which it's still...
So you can just smack the feeder bar until you get Darth Vader.
Yeah, man, it's still...
Well, I mean, they still have the reduced cost for it? 'Cause they reduced it by what? Was it 80% or 70%?
What for all of
We
the loot
covered
boxes?
it. I can't remember how much it was.
I don't recall either.
Yeah.
Anyways, they reduced it by a ton.
It's not like we really listen to this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Well, my other thing was that apparently today there was I think it was today or yesterday, something like that. You were seeing these reports of certain reviewers that review some of EA's games, like Battlefield 1 was a good example. For EA's latest DLC, I think is what was happening. They sat there and they were like, hey, we're not going to give you the game, the DLC, to actually test it before time. And these guys are like notorious for giving them like good reviews. These reviewers were, and they were like, why won't you give it to us? And the speculation I think was that they didn't give them necessarily as high of reviews on these last couple of games, and so EA is trying to pull the whole. I guess you could say
Bite the hand that feeds.
The Trump kind of thing where they discredit the reviewers and say,
fake news.
Fake news kind of deal. Well, if you don't invite them to your press release, then they can't say anything kind of deal. And I think they're trying to go on this hush-hush kind of thing. So what people are starting to think now is that people are catching on. Battlefront 2 dropped their stock by, I think a good amount overall after that release.
Yeah, the only thing was they're still profitable for the year.
For sure, because they have plenty of other softwares to make money off of. But the thing is, though, is that they're not busting out, AAA games like how they used to. And whenever I say AAA games, I don't necessarily mean good games, but I mean games that just bring in money, the AAA dollars.
Well, just think it's like Star Wars. Why wouldn't Star Wars sell? Well, if you put a bunch of microtransactions in it.
It takes a lot of work to make Star Wars bad.
Especially since the first game was praised so well.
Yeah.
The first EA Battlefront? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they're
it was, and the thing is that a lot of people say that the campaign isn't bad, the gameplay is good, but literally just the fact that they lock about half of the game's content,
it's just marred by the microtransaction.
That's the reason why people caught on to it. They use YouTube as a means of educating themselves on the latest and greatest in gaming.
Yeah,
and not even the reviewers are sitting there, and that's the ones that traditionally supported EA. Even they are sitting there and like, hey, this DLC is kind of weak, so And it's funny because I'm a huge Destiny 2 fan, and you see this with Destiny 2 this past year and their expansion packs and stuff. If you check out like the subreddits, it's generally pretty negative, and they had like the fastest drop off of like any AAA title in like recent memory. It was like something really crazy like that, and I sat there and I thought to myself, I was like, damn, I don't remember the last time I actually hopped on the game. And I really enjoyed it at first. I did. But as they said, there was no in-game. The only thing that they tried to focus on was shaders and anything that could be bought through the Eververse. This extra add-on transactionary shit that just keeps getting, like, forced into games.
It's like you think you're playing in a game, but you're actually just walking into Walmart,
Well, see, I think the difference between Blizzard Activision and...
Blizzard does not fall into this category.
Well, no, Blizzard Activision's the same company.
Blizzard Activision is?
Yeah, they are. Look it up.
Who owns who?
EA
owns Blizzard?
I think Activision is the parent company because Activision's the one that's publicly traded.
Oh.
Wait, you're for real?
Yeah. Blizzard Activision, which publishes Bungie's game.
Right. To the Blizzard.net.
Yeah, that's why it's on the Blizzard app.
I thought it was a partnership, dude. They actually own them?
Yeah. Activision owns Blizzard.
I'm going to have to ask everybody to give me a second here. This is pretty bad.
Anyways, Bungie and by the property, Activision, have actually been a little bit more vocal and actually trying to get stuff changed as opposed to with EA. It wasn't until Mr. Mickey Mouse came and started snapping necks and popping kneecaps and telling people like, hey, you need to change it. Like, this is a classic example of if you're vocal with your community, you're going to have a lot less headaches. You still might mess up, but you're going to have a lot less headaches than what you have with the whole Battlefront thing.
The intention is to give the player a sense of pride when.
Dude, the thing is though, is that no matter what, I'm sorry, dude. I tried out like Overwatch for the first time last month, and the game is so much more well done, and the loot crate system and yada yada yada. They still have loot crates in there too, but the thing is that it was all purely cosmetic. Whereas,
exactly.
Why is it that Destiny does have actual weapons that you can't? Like, I understand you can technically unlock them after you go through and you level up however many times and yada, yada, yada. I mean, but there is no end game. There's nothing at all. Every single one of Bungie's games, or Blizzard's games that have been coming out have been, I mean, nowhere near the same level as, like, what Activision's been producing that I've been seeing publicly.
Well, and see, I think that just sort of speaks to, I think Blizzard is kind of on the same level as Rockstar, where they just take as much time as they need to develop a game, and even when it comes out, they're just constantly updating it. I mean, just think of GTA Online, like how different that is from when it came out.
To be honest, I know a lot of people talk a lot of smack about GTA Online and stuff like that, about, oh man, it's pay to win because you have to get those shark cards and blah, 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 blah. I've never bought a single shark card, and I have a blast every time I get on there, dude. And that's what I mean. Maybe it's the developers that are large like that have pull enough over the publisher to where they're like, yeah, I know you want me to put some monetization in here, but real quick, fuck you. I'm not going to do that shit.
Well, I mean, yeah, so there are shark cards for GTA Online, but it just speaks to the gameplay, or even Heroes of the Storm and Overwatch, and there's loot boxes, stuff that you can even buy for StarCraft, if I'm not mistaken. But they just made StarCraft free to play. Like, you can just play StarCraft if you want now.
Yeah, you can
StarCraft
buy
2.
And if you have StarCraft 2 already, then you get the expansion.
Yeah, you get all the expansions.
Oh, wait, I remember when that happened, because I was telling my brother about it.
Yeah,
so if you haven't started StarCraft 2, it is a phenomenal game.
I mean, I've got the game, but now I get the expansions.
Yeah, it's free now, dude. Wings of Liberty.
Wings of Liberty was the original. We should. I'm really
I
good.
don't have the first one, but
once I get my new rig up and running.
So Wings of Liberty, Heart of the Storm, and then Into the Void or something like that was the third expansion.
Man,
but I guess just to top off my point was that they actually took the time to craft all these games, and while they still all do have microtransactions, it's nothing that actually affects the players,
the overall gameplay.
Right, the overall gameplay. It's just cosmetic stuff, or for like StarCraft, it's heroes you can use, or it's like it's like kind of like a DLC hero thing, which I guess that sort of affects the gameplay, but it's only for like players versus AI, so there's not really like an advantage.
I guess you could say that with HOTS as well, because you do buy. But the thing was, though, is that
they gave away a whole bunch of players. Remember that?
They did, and the other thing is too is that I only play casually, dude, and I just play versus AI and stuff like that. And I've already bought Raynor, and then the Russian girl that shoots grenades out of her like little thing that's from Overwatch. Like, and I have, like I said, casual play. I've already been able to buy 2 characters, all right, and I'm just saying, like, that's different. That's different than what like Destiny and all their other crap's doing. Because the other thing is too is that how is the development going? You went backwards in Destiny 2. You went back to not having half of the worlds that you originally had, like of all those expansions and stuff like that. If you had StarCraft, even if you just had the base StarCraft, they just gave you the other 2 games for free. Like, every single one of Blizzard's games are basically free. Why isn't Destiny 1 free then now? To make up for the fact that you just lost all those worlds and stuff like that, why isn't there crossplay and carryover of Destiny 1 items to Destiny 2?
See, and then even with Diablo 3, it's like, I think pretty much anytime an expansion comes out for Diablo 3, you get the previous expansion for free, if I'm not mistaken. So, like, whatever the Necromancer is the most current one, I have I just bought it not too long ago.
Let's play that, dude. I'm down to play some.
That's a game I've never gotten to play.
Dude, I had the original one, and I didn't mind it, but the thing was, though, is that I remember it, like, there's, like, one time that I played it with a friend, and I had so much more fun with it. Like, Blizzard games are just fun to play with friends, for sure.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, and we've done plenty of streams whenever we're playing, what's it called? StarCraft 1.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just, those games are just so freaking awesome, and I don't know, man. I don't know. They just do it right. They do it right.
Damn, now I really want to play StarCraft.
they're all phenomenal games.
It's just it's a crazy thing to think that Activision owns Blizzard, and I honestly don't think that it's owns. I think it's more.
Well, they call it Activision Blizzard, so
It's a partnership. It is definitely a partnership.
well, look it up.
It's well, I mean,
I know it's a shock because Activision tends to rely on re-releasing stuff that's like crap. Like they re-released a whole bunch of Spider-Man games that they made back in the day, and they were all super crappily like ported and stuff like that.
Are you talking about like when like the Tobey Maguire movies were coming out?
Yeah, like they re-released.
Hey, those were good games though.
the second one, Spider-Man 2, was good.
Yeah, PS2, man.
And then you had what was the guy from Evil Dead that played the voice of like the tutorial in Spider-Man 1? Oh God.
I don't know. I've never seen The Evil Dead.
Oh, Norm Macdonald.
Oh, really?
Or something like that.
I vaguely remember this.
Yeah, it was really funny because he'd be like, "Yeah, you got God, you got to look up. Could you look it up real quick?"
I couldn't pipe it into the stream.
Shit, man, it was just. There's a couple good Spider-Man games. I'm excited for the new one though.
Oh yeah, the new one looks great.
It's gonna be fantastic.
All right, anything else?
Well, just I guess randomly on that note, has anybody seen Spider-Man: Homecoming?
I have.
Homecoming?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good.
If I was to just buy it sight unseen, how disappointed might I be?
I guess I really don't. Do you like? Oh yeah, I'll put it to you this way: the enemy of the movie is Vulture. I would have never thought Vulture could be a really cool movie character. They made Vulture a really freaking cool movie character, and this doesn't do any of the dumb.
Spider-Man,
with great
Green Goblin,
with great responsibility or with great power.
Hey man, Willem Dafoe is a treasure.
Yeah, the scariest part about him is his fucking face and
Man,
smile.
I love Willem Dafoe.
They don't do any of the like they do. What do you call that? They don't do any of the secret origin. Like they just skip over all that stuff, which is great because it just starts with them being Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it gets into the action right off the get-go. Which
Yeah,
is nice.
and it has Iron Man in it.
Right.
Yeah, I really
Yeah,
liked it. I liked it a lot, actually.
I'm thinking about getting to that one and adding to my 4K collection.
Do it. Yeah,
It is a good movie.
If not, just like go to a Redbox and see if they probably still have it at
Right,
a
yeah.
Redbox.
Yeah.
Without spoiling like too much, I really like the suit. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, like the suit, and then there's a tease for what the next suit's going to be in it as
Yeah.
well.
Cool.
So wait, can he produce the web? Or-
No, so this is more like the comics where he designed web shooters, and it's like a fluid he came up with.
Huh.
Well, that's odd.
That is very odd. I don't know the origins, but I'm gonna.
Yeah,
go
I don't know a whole lot of deep lore about Spider-Man, but I'll just say that that's odd.
Well, I mean, because he's like a scientist,
Yeah.
which I guess they kind
super
of.
Wait,
smart.
wait. You're
It's
telling me
weird.
that he's not a high schooler that was bit by a radioactive spider?
Okay.
I mean, he
like,
is like
Peter Parker is like as smart as Batman, I would say.
yeah. Think of him kind of like a Batman that,
But not
has-
rich.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the Tobey Maguire movies did a terrible job of portraying that.
Exactly.
Yeah, he has the bump on his arm that can.
Go Web go.
Pizza time.
Fly. All right. Well, yeah, we might as well. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the beers.
It was
Weird.
great.
Well, okay, so we got to figure this one out because we sit here and we give the beer that we drank a 1 out of 10.
Let's do cookie, then cream, then both.
Okay, that sounds like a good
In
idea.
a circle.
All right, Zach,
All right, so
go Web, go.
go up, go. Cookie Stout. This is going to be one of my favorite stouts. It's not as strong as most stouts, I feel like, and that's all right. That's great. That's fine. It's all about the flavor, not about the ABV. And honestly, I thought it was pretty freaking dank. It does actually taste a lot like Nestle Toll House, like the chocolate chips. And honestly, I'm going to give that one an 8.5. That was really freaking good.
Wait,
All right.
no. Over to Justin.
Oh, is that right? Okay,
Yeah.
all right, cool. All right,
Oh, okay.
Joseph.
Yeah, we can do it that way.
Yeah.
So for me, the cookie dough stout was pretty good. It, as Zach was saying, it definitely does taste a lot like a chocolate chip cookie or something like that. I want to go ahead and give this one about a 7, just because I've had tastier ones.
All right, Scott, cookie dough stout.
Yeah, I mean, I like this a lot. I think this actually tastes more like chocolate than any other stout that we've had. Like
Yes, it
like
tastes like a
tasting
semi-sweet
this
chocolate chip.
Like I want to say that any other stout I had doesn't really
Now,
taste like chocolate.
when you guys are saying that it tastes like chocolate, are you thinking like oh, nice sweet chocolate?
No,
or
no,
actually,
no, no.
actual bitter cocoa.
Semi-sweet chocolate chips,
no,
like literally
like this tastes like a semi-sweet chocolate chip. Whereas like
what you get out of the bag.
Okay, yeah. No. All right.
everything else,
okay,
it's like you say that, but then like like this actually makes me think of chocolate whenever I have it.
All right.
They did do a good job. Yeah.
So I would give this like an 8. I mean, I wouldn't go to this as a stout, which I think next
like
time
a go-to stout.
Right, we're gonna have a dark beer next time. So like I wouldn't go to it like I would go to that beer, but I think this is just cool for the simple fact that it is a cookie dough stout.
Yeah, it's the novelty, man.
Yeah.
The novelty.
it's-
So yeah, I'd give it an 8 for that.
Okay, so as a novelty beer, I think I can get on board with you guys, but I'm going to be a little bit more critical, I think.
Yeah, be Simon Cowell tonight.
So to me, this beer tastes like a beer that we had probably me and Joseph probably had like several years ago. Do you remember Shiner's birthday cake stout?
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah, this is what that tastes like.
Slightly.
It does.
And
A little bit, yeah.
that's why I'm not the biggest fan of it. So like I can definitely get the chocolate flavor in there, and like I can see where you're coming from with the semi-sweet chocolate to it, but like Evie, I know. But I mean, as far as like the flavor in a beer goes, it's a bit too artificial for me.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
It doesn't taste fully natural to me, and I think that's why I'm not the biggest fan of it.
For what they were going for, that they achieved it.
Yeah, it definitely kind of has that flavor, I think, in there. But like,
As far as it being a good flavor.
yeah, like the problem I have with it is that it's a stout with like that kind of artificial chocolate flavor added to it.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm just not a big fan of it. So I think I'm gonna have to give it like a 5.5, just because stout's my stout's my big
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
But I'm always for like the big imperial stouts, and like this one just didn't check the boxes for me. So that's the only reason why I didn't really wasn't a big fan. Okay, Zach, cream ale.
All right, cream ale. I've got to say that this is probably my favorite cream ale that I've had so far.
Have
to
you
my
had ours?
knowledge. I don't believe I have. That was the thing.
That's why this one's your favorite.
All right, well, yeah, but the thing is that it actually does taste a little creamy, and that's the crazy part about it is that I know I was dipping my cookie into into a mixture of the two, and it tasted absolutely terrible. But the thing is that I definitely think that mixing the two beers together, which I'll get to in a second, was a good idea. They did a good job just doing a pairing between two beers in general. So I'm going to go ahead and give that one a 8 out of 5, just for being a good cream ale, and I could drink that one actually on the reg for sure.
Okay.
Dope.
Jasper.
This cream ale, to me, the more I drank it, the less I liked it.
Really?
Yeah, it was good starting out. It really had all of those creamy, sweet flavors. It, to me, kind of actually reminded me of the funnel cake beer a little bit because it was so sweet.
Yeah.
Funnel cake beer. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the more I drank it, the more it was kind of like, this is super sweet, and it doesn't taste like a beer anymore. I'm like, But yeah, kind of what you were saying about the artificialness of the cookie dough. For this one. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead. I'll give the cream version a 6. Yeah.
Word. Okay. Scott.
I kind of had the opposite to you, where when I first tried this cream ale, I was like, this doesn't really taste anything like cream. But honestly, the more I sipped on it, it was like, oh, wow, this is kind of like cream soda, which I like cream soda, so...
As he takes these last
Yeah, as I take
As he
less.
down it.
And yeah, I like it. I don't think that it is quite as good as the cookie dough one. I don't quite taste the artificial flavor you guys are talking about. So I'm only gonna give this one like a 7.5, but I do appreciate it a lot because, like I said, this kind of tastes like a cream soda, sorta.
Right.
So.
Okay, yeah. So out of the 3 variations that we had here, I think the cream ale is probably my favorite. So kind of like as I said at the beginning of the show, like typically a cream ale and a beer is not creamy. It's kind of light and crisp, almost a little bit like a light lager. But this one was different. It had like the standard cream ale qualities that you would find in like an actual cream ale, but it was also a little bit sweet, sweeter than a normal cream ale would be. It had a lot of thick body to it. Is what stood out to me most about this cream ale is that like they made it have a really thick mouthfeel, which I think was kind of probably what they were going for the cream aspect of it, because it's supposed to be a rich cream ale. So it was rich. It was thick as far as a beer goes. I feel like I had a little bit of that artificialness that kind of took me away from it. But I mean, as out of the three, I'm probably going to give this like a 7. So, yeah.
Before we move on to the next one, do you think that maybe because the cookie dough didn't have quite as much coffee flavor to it, that might be why you don't like it as much?
It could be. Coffee is one of the biggest things I really like.
Because it just occurred to me that I don't think I really tasted much coffee, if any.
That's
no,
true.
there probably wasn't any coffee in this. Coffee is
Right.
an optional ingredient when it comes to stouts. Like a lot of the bigger imperial stouts will have coffee in it just because like that's the popular thing to do. But like this is on the lighter side as far as stouts go. So this is probably closer to like your typical. This might even be a milk stout.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Like it could be, which is where they like add lactose sugar to it, which adds body and a little bit of residual sweetness, so that it could kind of be like what that is, and like added like the cookie dough flavor to it. But it's not really until you get to like the bigger stouts that they like add coffee to it. So there probably isn't any coffee in this one.
Okay. All right.
So Zach,
Ziggity Zach.
Next
what do you think of the
round.
blend?
5. Absolute 5. That was nasty, man. Well, it wasn't nasty. It was just like, it wasn't good, man. It just, you know what? 4. I can't.
Now,
I can't
is this a
say
4 out of 5 or a 4 out of 10?
4 out of 10, dude.
4 out of 7.
It wasn't bad because they were two great beers, but whenever you mixed them together, one thing that I noticed that was weird, and maybe it was the way that I poured it or something like that, but it like became more flat for some reason.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I think you did cream first, then cookie.
No, I did. Well, wait, did we crack the cream first, or did we crack the cookie?
I don't know what you
I was
cracked
watching
first.
you, and I think you did cream first, and you did
cracked
cookie.
I cracked cookie first. God damn. I don't really remember exactly which one I did crack first because I was sitting there so excited about it. But I gotta say, after I sat there and I mixed them together, I know that's like their recommendation. It kind of went a little flat, and then the flavors, like it was just a jumble of flavors. It just tasted like a flavorful, over-flavored beer, and that's whenever you see like where the artificial kind of flavoring comes out that Brad's talking about, is that it's just too much going on that you know that this isn't like a normal beer, and that you're just drinking a beer that's had all of this artificial crap poured into it. And it's not crap. Martin House still made a really great comparison. This is a great beer for double fisting on a very, very rare occasion for novelty. But don't pour it into the same glass. That's not right. That's not.
That beer ain't right.
I'm gonna go home.
Joseph.
So I don't know. I have mixed feelings about the mixed one. Ironically, the way I mixed mine, I poured both of them in at the same time. And originally, I didn't like it as much. I was, as you can tell, I don't have really any of the separate ones because I was drinking them separately. I thought it tasted better that way. But now that I'm tasting this one that has been mixed sitting here for a while, it is more tolerable than either of them separately to me anyway. But yeah, so I liked it. It did a good job of kind of, like, opposite to what Zach said. It actually kind of knocked down some of the artificialness in the cookie dough for me. And the rich creaminess of the cream ale sort of supported what was artificial about it in a good way. And I kind of want to give this one like a 7.5 for the mix. It was good. Like, now it is, but yeah, starting out, I don't know. I don't know what it was.
All right, Scott.
Yeah, I'm only gonna give the mix a 5. Like, there's something. Like, I did half and half, and I did cookie first, then cream. But I just don't think it really worked. I mean, to me, the the cookie is way too powerful and it overpowers any of the cream that you really put in there. So maybe doing half and half was just wrong, and maybe I should have done like a fourth cookie and 3/4 cream or something like that.
That would kind of make sense from like actual dipping a cookie in milk.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking. But it's just that the cookie was, in my opinion, more powerful than the cream.
Definitely.
And, I mean, it makes an interesting flavor, but it doesn't really remind me of dipping a cookie in milk. Although I really didn't drink milk. So maybe I just don't have a good palate for this. But I don't feel like the cream of this really adds to the flavor of the cookie and vice versa. Yeah. So that's why probably only like a 5 for me.
Yeah, understandable. So I think for me, I'm going to have to agree a lot with Joseph. Mixing these definitely took the artificial out of the cookie dough for me. Definitely made them both a little bit more tolerable. But I think it was still just kind of that. Once again, I really like Martin House, but it was I still had the ruined stout flavor. I think is what was going on for me in the blended one.
How did you mix yours? Cookie first, or?
Yeah, I did cookie dough first, and then added the cream to it. Yeah, that's how I did it. So, I mean, yeah, once again, if we can find another couple 4-packs of these, I'd like to do a controlled experiment.
Yeah, I had to go to Austin to get these. I don't know.
So if anybody out there can find, a couple 4-packs of these, send them our way. Yeah, I'd like to do a controlled experiment. Do cookie dough first, then cream, then cookie dough, then pouring them at the same time. Different things like that. Try to figure out like what the tastes like. And maybe do different proportionalities as well. Yeah. Because I also did as close as I could to half and half. But yeah, that'd be really interesting to see. I'd probably give the mix a 6. But I mean, as far as this beer goes, it's definitely I think a novelty.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. For sure, dude.
They're definitely not. I don't think they're shooting for definitely not shooting for main part of their arsenal. This is definitely a seasonal or one-off thing. And
right, and even the can artwork is just really cool.
Yeah, and regardless of our scores, I think we all had a good time with this beer.
It was, man. It was a fun beer. Dude. Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. It was a fun beer.
Yeah,
a roller coaster all the way through. For me, particularly because I had mixed feelings all the way through.
Yeah, because when I brought the concept to you guys, I was I was really excited. I was like, okay, so you have the one beer, then you have the other beer, then you have the beers together, and that was a really cool, interesting concept to me.
That was a blast.
Yeah. So I guess this is Martin House's own hop tail, as they call it. Hop tails are kind of mixing beers or mixing other ingredients with beers, cocktails, but with beers. Yeah. So I guess this is their kind of hop tail, but others that we've had around here in Denton, they call it a snake bite, where you have the half Guinness, half cider.
Half cider, yeah.
That's really good.
It's an interesting combination.
That's always the last drink I remember.
Last drink he remembers before he completely blacks out.
Bats.
But yeah, so like I said, maybe we didn't give the most stellar scores on this beer, but we all had a really good time with it.
I gotta say, do one, do the other, and then mix them both. The experience will vary, I feel for everyone, because it isn't there's so many flavors going on with that thing, dude. It's not something that you can sit there and say this is a good or a bad beer. It's either you yourself personally is going to enjoy it or you're going to hate it. And either way, it's always worth a try for this guy, because this is, my God, it was still an interesting concept.
Well, and I think it might just also be that literally, you have a stout and an ale, which are kind of two different spectrums of.
Well, I mean, a stout is an ale.
Well, the flavors are
flavors are very different.
You have a really dark beer and I have a really light beer. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, okay. Light side and dark side, okay? Here, and we're mixing them together, okay?
The Force.
Yeah, the Force. My point was, yes, you have these two very different flavor profiles of beer.
Nice.
And so, one might appeal to you more than the other. So mixing the two may not result in something that's necessarily palatable to most people.
Yeah, like I keep saying, really like Martin House. Like even on the beers that like we don't like, it's always because they're trying to like push the envelope a little bit and do something a little bit different, do something kind of crazy.
I gotta say the brewer does a great job because they are actually willing to try something new.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I've got something in the cellar that I might pull out for our barbecue on Sunday.
Oh, beautiful!
I've got. I think it's their. I want to say it's a quadruple, something that they put like plum and something else in. That's one of their special releases.
Stone fruits.
Yeah, but like their special releases are always something interesting to check out, no matter what, just to see what they're cooking up in there.
Oh yeah.
I know my brother and his boyfriend are like almost always over there at Martin House, like on a Thursday night or Saturday night.
Really?
Yeah, like they have like basically like an open brewery on Thursday nights and Saturdays. You go there. It's like Fort Worth is a little bit different with breweries. Like up here, we have breweries with tap rooms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Down in Fort Worth, you go and you pay like a $10 fee. You get a pint glass, and then you get 3 beers for the night.
Oh, dude, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun to go to them. Like we did it once at RAR.
Yeah.
I've done it with my brother and his boyfriend at Martin House once before.
We've done well. We didn't do necessarily an event like that, but we did do going out over to gosh, you know which one I'm talking about for your bachelor party.
Those were all in Dallas. Dallas is a little bit different as well.
Yeah.
Oh well, Lakewood. I'm talking about Lakewood.
Well, Lakewood was still buy the beers as you go.
Yeah, you're talking about pint nights in general, though.
Yeah, like basically like when you go to a brewery in Fort Worth, like anytime you go to a brewery in Fort Worth, it's a pint night. You get a pint glass, you get like 3 beers.
Right. And they do their tappings up here, but I mean, just in general, drinking at a brewery itself has got a very different experience.
Oh yeah,
it's enjoyable and
a lot
rewarding.
Of fun. We should try to go down and visit sometime soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So somebody, Austin Flores, I want to punch a robot as a cardboard robot. I want to punch a robot as a cardboard robot, and Nintendo is letting me live my true dream.
That's beautiful.
Hell yeah.
That is beautiful, Austin.
Bringing
and
it full circle.
That's a great way for us to end the show. So thank you for listening. Always check us out, beerstheroundtable.com, Facebook, TuneIn, Stitcher. Damn, I always like that's.
You're good. Google Play, iTunes.
If they have podcasts, likely we're on there.
Yeah.
If you want to see some cool homebrewing supplies, go check us out at beerstheroundtable.com/homebrewing. I think that's about it. Thank you for joining us for our 20th episode. 20 episodes. That's 20
episodes.
That's a big milestone for us, and we're really excited.
Next episode, the episode will be allowed to drink. We're gonna pour beer on the mixers here.
We're gonna pour beer over the equipment. All right, yeah. So thanks for joining us. Join us again next time, and be sure to crack a cold one with your boys and whoever else you crack a cold one with. No, that was stupid. Don't cut this out.
Edit point.
Beautiful, guys. Beautiful.
I can cut in, as Brad would say, crack a cold one with your boys. That's what I always do on back bar episodes. I always say, as Brad would say.
That's so sweet, dude.
Kind of gay.
Oh, we gotta stop the live stream.